Okay, welcome to the Mitches podcast. Today we have Nikki Ashworth.
Hello.
How you doing, Nikki?
I'm good. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a fan, and I can't believe I made it to the Mitches podcast. It's very cool. I can see behind the scenes. It's fascinating. So yeah, it's cool in here. There's AC, which I'm thrilled about.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to be here.
You got to tell people they're treated well when they come on.
Absolutely. I got water. I was also offered a Coke or tea as well, to be fair.
No, I feel bad because I do offer other people alcohol and weed beverages, and I just made an assumption that you didn't want any.
You're absolutely correct. No. I do not drink, and I do not do drugs. You nailed it.
Was that always
yes.
the way? Okay.
Always.
Oh my God.
Always. I'm very boring. Yeah, I'm clean as a bean, as I like to say.
I feel like you can't be boring if you're always, you know what I mean?
Well, that's fair. The definition I use, especially when it comes to drinking, is I call it drunk by osmosis. So it's like if you're with a group of friends and everyone is drunk and having fun and loopy, and if you're the only sober one, you kind of naturally take on their vibe or their, yes. I mean, I'm already really silly, but like you take on their like, with everything. So it's almost, I mean, I can't say I'm acting drunk. I'm not stumbling over or slurring my words, but I take on that kind of uninhibited silliness that they do. But then there's also, it can get to a point that I refer to as zombie drunk. So if people get to that level of drunk where they are slurring, I'm barely understanding them, they're slouched, I'm like, time to go, and that's when I leave. But yes. I have no problem. Oops, sorry.
That's cool.
I already touched the mic. Great. I have no problem. Like all my friends do stuff. So and I'm with them when they do stuff sometimes. So.
You're just going along with it.
I'm going along with it. Yeah, it depends on what the stuff is, and I'm aware of certain stuff. Certain stuff I do not see them do. Other stuff I do. It depends on the stuff and the person. Yeah.
Do you ever have someone tell you like they're quitting cocaine or something? You're like, you were doing what?
Not to that extent. Like there's people I know, they're not necessarily close friends, but there are people I know and I care about who were dabbling in things that concerns me, but it's like none of my business. And I would just say like, take care of yourself, please. I'm worried about you. And then some of them actually did start taking care of themselves. So I'm very pleased to know that, but that's definitely not like the majority of like my closer inner circle. Like, I think a lot of my friends that I've had for years that maybe used to, and I'm not even talking about like harder drugs, but just like used to drink a lot or smoke a lot of weed or whatever. They don't really do that anymore because we're of a certain age and a lot of them have kids now, and they just like, they don't go as hard as they used to. Like I'm lucky if like we hang out twice a year, when we used to see each other like every weekend. So aging's weird. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so I'm an ex-drinker, and sometimes like, I'm new to being the sober one. Well, now I'm many years in, but it's weird to tell people like, I want you to drink in front of me because I will. Like if you have a wine and get relaxed, I'll get relaxed off your vibe. So because people want to be polite to you. Yes. And I'm like, don't stay sober. Like, then you're just inflicting your sober self on me.
Yeah, I completely relate to that. A lot of people will even say, like, friends, like, if I meet new friends, they'll say, is it okay if I drink? I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, if we're at a restaurant, it's okay if I have wine. Of course. Like, yes. Like, please do whatever you're going to do. I don't care. Because I don't know if you get this, but, I mean, in my case, it's different because it's not like I had a journey to sobriety. I've just never drank. Yeah. So I feel like some people, they express concern that like I must be judging them that they even started. I'm like, no, I don't care.
Because they either think like you're against it on a moral reason, or they think like some people, like with me needing to be sober, they don't want to like upset my sobriety. I'm like, no, it's on me. It's not like I wouldn't put myself in an unsafe situation.
But I will say, like, especially in your circumstance, I think that the people doing that are coming from a really good place, right? Because they don't want to put you off the rails. Like, they really care. But, it's like one of those things you probably have to express a lot. And I certainly do. Like, it depends on the friend. Like, some friends, like, when I first meet them and we do become friends later, they realize, like, oh, yeah, she doesn't care. It depends on the person. Some people get it right away. Yeah. And some people don't. But also, I find a lot more people are not drinking these days in general. So I would say like the past 5 years, it hasn't been as relevant
Yeah,
as it used to be.
it's been very crazy. And I meet a lot of people who, like, because I think we're close in age. And so
Yes.
I feel like for our generation, it's very strange to not have ever drank. But when I meet women like 10 years younger, or especially 20 years, it feels like very normal to just be like, oh, it's not my vibe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like when I was a teenager, like kids would get drunk in the park. Like they'd go to Hyde Park and get drunk at like 2 in the morning. And I know like there were people in high school, these aren't necessarily like people that like I was super close with, but like I know people that got their stomachs pumped. I know people that almost died of alcohol poisoning. Like it was very common to just like, or like steal your parents' alcohol.
Drinking in the woods.
Drinking in Hyde Park as an urban girl, you know, like not me specifically, but yeah, it was a thing. And sometimes like I would feel left out. I never went to like Hyde Park, but sometimes there was like this little kids park that people used to drink in. It was in Bloris Village. I don't remember the name of the park, but like people would go to hang out. And I would go every once in a while just because I wanted to be social. Like I felt like FOMO for like, oh, I'm missing cool stuff. But then whenever I went, I was missing nothing.
No.
Like I would go for half an hour and be like out. Because just like, I don't know why I went, but I just, I wanted to be
and
cool.
And that's kind of like, because I remember my high school had a lot of straight edge kids. And I always found like they couldn't be boring because it's sort of like if you're drunk or high, that is entertaining you, but if you're sober, I feel like the straight edge kids were always like getting up to something. Like they'd be pulling pranks or like you were like kind of like a theater kid.
Yeah, I would say I was more of like a music kid than a theater kid, but both for sure. Like I did Second City classes when I was in high school. I did the musicals in my high school. I was in all the choirs. I did a couple like regular plays.
How many choirs did you guys have?
4, I want to say 4. There was a lot.
Vocal choir.
There was okay, so there was the choir of your grade. So I took music as like you could do like drama. Ooh, I keep hitting the mic. You could do drama, you could do music, or you could do art. So I did music throughout my however many years, 5 years in high school. So you have the choir of your grade. That's one choir. Girls choir, other choir. The choir with guys and girls, that was an extracurricular one. I don't remember what they called that choir, but that was the one where we would actually perform at Massey Hall. Like we got to do some really cool stuff, and there were other choirs from like other schools that would do those things as well. But you know, we were singing like Hallelujah chorus with like literally 1,000 other kids, and it would be so cool and so loud. And so we did that. And then there was a 4th choir. I don't remember what it was called, but there was a 4th one that I was in. I do not recall the name of it, but I'm going to say 4. 4 is final answer. I don't.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
So we all kind of know the stereotype of theater kids.
Yeah.
What are the music kids or choir kids?
I would say music. Well, I wasn't like the thing is I was in the choirs, but I wasn't a choir kid. Like I would say I was a kid that liked to sing. So like any opportunity to sing, I sang, and I had like I begged. I wouldn't call them bands, but like I tried to form bands when I was in high school, which would be like usually with like one other kid or like maybe 2, because I only sang. I didn't play any instruments. And the thing is, like, I don't want to beat myself up and say, oh, I should have learned something. I mean, I should have, but I just didn't want to learn. Like, I was more like, I just want to partner with someone. That makes it so much easier. Like, I just didn't put in the effort that was required to, like, if I had tried, I could potentially have been a pretty decent guitar player right now, right? Yeah. And I just didn't do that. And I had every means to do that, and it's kind of shameful I didn't, but I was so focused on, like, I just want to sing. I wanted to be a rock star, basically. Yeah. Like, I wanted to be a performer in a band, like specifically a band. I didn't want to be a solo.
And it was the 90s. So
it was the 90s, like front woman in a band. Yeah. Like that's what I wanted.
That's very cool. I don't think everyone needs to learn an instrument.
Yeah,
like,
well,
I
didn't,
but I don't know.
I play ukulele real bad if that counts, but I know like 7 chords. I can play some songs, but that's it.
It's also like the whole, because you would have to do it at the same time as you're singing. So I feel like,
which was hard for me. Like I tried a couple times, but I gave up so easily. And my father plays guitar and he's very good and he collects guitars. And it's like, I lived there. Like I had every opportunity to learn. My dad was really wanting to teach me. I'm sorry,
they
Dad.
should have got
like
you a sibling, because maybe
did they have someone to compete against or
no,
something?
because maybe your sibling would have been a guitar player and you could have had a family band.
That's true, yeah. And like my dad was always willing to play with me too. Which is so lovely and kind, but like I was very, especially as a teenager, I was just like, I don't want to do that with my dad, you know. And of course now I recognize like how special that is, because a lot of parents wouldn't be involved that way, or like want to volunteer that time or whatever. But no, my dad, like both my parents were just very encouraging for me to be creative. And my parents are both, my dad's an animator and my mom was a graphic designer, so they're very artsy people, and my mom loves to dance, and so like they really wanted me to just like be artistic. Like I think if I was like not that in life, I don't want to say they would have been disappointed in me, but I think that would have been surprising for them, like because it was so important to them. So I don't know if it's the nature versus nurture concept of like how I became what I became, but I was definitely submersed in a lot of creativity and a lot of access to like materials and books and like cool stuff. A lot of music too. Oh my God, my dad, like records, CDs. Like when I was a teenager, I'm a big David Bowie fan. Like a lot of people know this about me. It's like
I don't know this about you.
Oh my gosh, it's like my personality. I'm a huge David Bowie fan, and when I was really getting into Bowie when I was a teenager, and my dad was the one who introduced me to Bowie, he used to like buy a new Bowie CD for me and just like slip it under my door. Just be like, here's another one, right? And he was feeding it to me because like he was excited that like I found something I really loved. And it's also a musician he loves, not his favorite, but like definitely probably in his like top 10 maybe I would say of musicians or like musical acts. And so like he was just thrilled to nurture me being interested so in such a deep way with like a specific musician. Like he was really into that.
I love that. I feel like Bowie is one of those artists no one's ever properly introduced me to him.
I'm your girl.
Yeah.
I will proudly. I've gotten so many people into him. So
I would love
many.
that.
Yeah.
Even just tell me like what album should I start with to just like, because I've got Spotify, so I can just go through a whole album at a time.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to spend our whole time talking about Bowie. What I would ask you is, what do you like? What kind of music do you like? What do you enjoy listening to?
I feel like my favorite band in high school was Tool.
Okay.
I also got really obsessed with Fiona Apple.
Okay.
So it tends to be like singer-songwriters who have like a great voice and are very like, I guess, emotional.
Yeah, a little moody. A little industrial? A little?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I listened, like, because a lot of the kids at my high school were into like the emo scene as it was like still underground. So then I was exposed to a lot of that.
Okay.
90s hip hop though. Like I feel like I also have eclectic taste, but I do think that I lean more, I want to say pop and rock.
Okay.
And singer-songwriter.
Okay, so I would, based on that, for the more, like when you said Tool, of course, like I thought more industrial and I thought of like something a little edgier, grittier, and I thought of the 90s. I would probably, this is kind of a radical one for me to recommend first for you. I would recommend Outside by David Bowie, which I can't believe I'm recommending as the number one. It's very gritty. It's very unusual. Very 90s sounding. Like if you listen to the production of it, it was very like modern at the time, but it's very aggressively 90s production. And it's dark. It's a very moody album. There aren't really happy songs on that album, like maybe 2 that are like a little bit more bouncy in their pace or melody.
That doesn't faze me.
So it's a radical, I can't believe I'm recommending this is your first album. So I would say that. And then when you said singer-songwriter, my favorite Bowie album of all time is Hunky Dory, and that's from the earlier 70s. I would absolutely recommend Hunky Dory for you. It is like classic singer-songwriter music with sometimes sweeping orchestral moments. But those two, and they're radically different albums, radically different. And that, like, again, I could go on forever, but one of the reasons I love David Bowie's music so much is it spans decades and it's all different. There is a Bowie for every season. Like, he was so prolific. And don't get me wrong, like, there are some albums I'm not a huge fan of. He had periods that I don't think were, like, creatively his most interesting. But even in those things, there's always, like, a couple nuggets. But his output was so great, and he was one of the first kind of commercial artists to reinvent himself over, and long before Madonna, right? Like, long before these other people. Like, he really had the blueprint for reinventing his personas, his characters, so to speak. He had many characters, his looks, the sound, and it really evolved. And as it evolved, it sounded more genuine. Like, if you go back to his early stuff when he was very young, he was trying to sound like every other, like the Monkees. Like, he was trying to sound like every other British pop act from the mid 60s or early 60s. And if you listen to that music, it's fascinating because, like, the lyrics aren't great. Like, they're funny almost because they're so radically different from what he came up with later. And the songs are kind of like fluffy non-songs. Like, there's one song called I Dig Everything, and the chorus is everything's fine and I dig everything. Everything's fine and I dig everything. It's like, it's not good, right? But I love it because it's so cheesy.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, if you just heard that, you'd be like, David Bowie sucks, right? So it just depends on the era. But I also find it encouraging because it shows someone's creative growth.
Yeah.
Like, it shows, like, and that goes for any medium, like for comedy, for stand-up, whatever, is like, you got to start somewhere. And the idea is to build off of that. And so I find it really inspiring when you, like, see, like, a comedian's, like, original material and, like, maybe how stiff they were and the evolution of that. Like, you can't judge somebody's worth as a comedian or as a performer, or as a musician, like, on what you see necessarily, because you don't know at what stage in their growth they're in.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep growing. Assuming they keep going and they don't quit.
Yeah.
They're gonna evolve.
Yeah.
And you just have to get better. Like, I don't think it's mathematically possible for you to keep going and just continue to be, like, dead level. Like, there's nowhere to go but up. Like, unless, like, I don't know, unless, like, you have an accident or something, I don't see how you wouldn't be able to get better over time. I have that belief. So
that's amazing.
But yeah, that's what I would recommend. And yeah.
How many years into comedy are you?
It will be 4 in July, so almost at 4.
Do you feel like within that time that you've changed in your style?
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, not just talent-wise, but, like, your voice, and, like, have you been surprised at all, like, what your voice is or how it's changed?
Good question. I did, when I first started, I didn't really know what my vibe was. I had no idea what I was setting out to do, but I realized very quickly, without trying, like, without thinking about it, is I do have a pretty sardonic sense of humor. I have a pretty dark sense of humor. And I just naturally started writing stuff that was on the darker side. Like, a lot of my jokes are based on death, or based on sickness, or based on loss, and kind of twisting that. So I like to say I say dark things in a very lighthearted way. And it's that juxtaposition.
You have a very, like, light, bright, like, your voice
persona,
and your persona, everything. So it is funny.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it's the juxtaposition. And so it took me a while to figure that out. And I definitely am, like, a version of myself on stage. I'm not me. I am, like, me cranked up to, like, 12, like, not 11, 12.
Yeah.
And people who know me recognize that, like, oh, she's putting it on, right? But people that don't know me, I think they think that's my real persona, and it's not. And I think sometimes that actually kind of creeps people out because I'm just so happy, you know, or just so blink, blink, blink. And they just find that uncomfortable off stage, or they don't want to talk to me. But then I actually had someone, I had a show on Tuesday that was a great show. It was a sold out show, and I did well, and I had a really good time. And I did have a couple people come talk to me after the show, and that's how you know it's a good show. And like when people take the time to actually talk to you, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
And the guy said, he was talking to me, and he went, oh yeah, like that's not you, like that. And I went, no, it's not. And he went, yeah, you're like playing it up on there. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I figured. And he's like, but I wanted to talk to you because I wasn't really sure. And that it's that fine line. And I don't really care whether people think I'm real on stage or not. Like, if people think that's my personality, that's fine. If they think I'm putting it on or doing a character, like Bobcat Goldthwait, for example, I don't know if you know who he is. Like, that's a character, right? But it's a very obvious character. Or Emo Phillips is another really good example of, like, he's playing a character, but they play it so convincingly, you think it's them. And it's actually not. Like, I don't know who they are. I don't know the real them. And I'm sure, like, it's tucked in there with their characters. But I naturally started becoming this character. And it used to be way more affected. Like, when I first started, the voice was more, like, everything was just more. And I had a lot of comedians in the early days say, don't do that. They'd be like, drop it. It doesn't work. It's weird. Don't do it. And, like, because people kept telling me not to do it, I just did it more. But I did take it down. So I would get different opinions because, like, I had one comedian say once, like a professional comedian who I respect very much and I think is very funny, and she said, do it more. She was like, you're in this weird space where people can't tell whether this is real you or not, so just go all the way. And at that point I thought, like, in that particular thing that she had seen, I was like, I thought I went pretty far. And I was kind of scared to go further. Yeah. And I think, if anything, I've scaled it back a bit. But I think I've found, like, a sweet spot for me where it comes very naturally to me now. And I feel very comfortable with it. So, but that took years. Like, I'm on year 4. I think I started kind of figuring it out 2.5 years in before I really found that, like, sweet spot.
Yeah. It's interesting because there's kind of like a spectrum of, like, authentic to theatrical, but even the most theatrical person, there is authenticity in that.
Yeah,
like,
I hope so.
Like, but I don't know, like, I just think authentic in your voice just means sort of like, is it how you talk day to day? But you could still be in, like, I could be in this speaking voice on stage and be being full of shit, right? Mm-hmm. And I think Robin Williams is like was one of the higher ends of theatricality. But I think what he was doing was, like, deeply authentic, right? Like, it's probably like how he would goof off with his friends, you know, like, it comes naturally. And I think that's
it is a hard line. I think the authenticity thing, like, I personally feel very authentic when I'm on stage. Like, even though, as I said, I'm, like, me cranked to 12 or whatever, what I'm talking about is authentic. Like, every comedian lies. But newsflash, we all lie. Like, we take things and exaggerate them. But I think that the best stuff comes from at least a grain of truth. Like, I would never say something radical happened to me that never happened. Like, I would never say, well, I was in a car accident once and I broke my spine. Like, that's not true. I would never do that personally. Yeah. But I feel like there's things that have happened to you that, you know, you twist it a little, or a classic. Like, I think the easiest way comedians lie is something happened to you 2 years ago. You're like, it happened last week, baby. Yeah. You know,
on, like, the way over here.
On the way over here. And there are times where I've been genuine with that, where, like, I did have something happen on my way there. And then I wanted to talk about it, but it wasn't a fully baked concept because it had just happened. But I thought it was funny, so I wanted to talk about it. And I've always not done well because I didn't think about it, right? Yeah. But I was so excited to tell this bonkers story. I think it's worked once, only once.
And sometimes, like, the first time you do a joke, you're like, recently, and then you master the joke, but it's a year later. Yes. But you're gonna do it until it can't be done anymore.
Or I've seen people, this is actually my favorite kind of lie, where they're like, my girlfriend broke up with me, and they've had a new girlfriend for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing is hilarious to me.
Sometimes I think I know everyone's material, and then they'll be like, I recently broke up with someone, and then I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry about your breakup. They're like, no, that's just old material.
Exactly. Or like their kids are a different age. Yeah. Like their kid's 4, but in real life their kid's 10. You know, and I don't bemoan any of these. Like, it has to be done sometimes, but I just find it really amusing because sometimes the audience, and I guess I wouldn't, like, why would they? But they don't question any of what you're saying. Like, they really think whatever you're saying is real. And then you'll say something and they'll go, like, they really think it's happened, you know, and sometimes it hasn't happened the way you're describing it. And I mean, I can tell, even just, I love going up to comedians after. I did this, like, again, on the show I had on Tuesday. This one guy had a bit that I'd never heard before, and I really liked it. And so I went to talk to him about it, and I said, tell me the truth, did that happen? Because I said, I think the start of that happened, but I was like, tell me the truth. And he did, and basically all of it was true except for one thing. And that was the clincher, right? That was the thing that made it a really good story and a really good joke, but it was still based on truth. But when I was watching him, I was like, this is too good to be 100% real, right?
Yeah.
But then sometimes you have comedians that will say, like, this is 100% true. And when they do say that, I do believe them. Because I say that, and if I say something is 100% true, I'm sincere. So if they say that, I'm like, oh, they must be telling the truth this time. But there's a lot of lying.
I think my lies are just the recently, and then when I walk completely out of reality.
I love those too. I love, out of reality. I used to write a lot more like that, and like I had one joke years ago that I haven't done it in a long time, and I probably won't do it again. But in my earlier writing, I have this whole thing about if you trip on a pigeon in the city of Toronto and you die, your family can receive up to 50% off coupons to Ripley's Aquarium. And people, I would do, and there's like, it keeps going. Like, I go into the details of it, and when I used to do it, some people go, you could hear them in the audience going, that's not true. No shit. Like, yeah, of course it's not true. It's the absurdity of that, right? So it's like, I don't feel like that's a bad lie, because you know I'm being silly, like, or at least I assume most people know I'm being silly. But that's like one of my best examples of people going like, what? No.
When you got into comedy, was there a direct line between your musical stuff leading you to comedy, or was it sort of separate?
I think the direct line is performance. I think is being live, like going up on stage, performing in front of people. That is a direct line. I don't do musical comedy. It's not that I wouldn't. Again, it has more to do with I don't play an instrument and I made a harp, but I'm not against writing. Like, I used to write stupid songs all the time, and I have examples of stupid songs that I recorded with other people. And I do love parody music. Like, I love Weird Al. I've met Weird Al.
Oh, like, my God.
David Bowie, Weird Al. That's me in a nutshell. Like, those two things combined is me. I love stupid music. I love stupid songs. And I would write more of those if I had someone to do that with. Like, I'm definitely not against it. I love novelty music, like Dr. Demento, radio, like all that stuff. And again, that was something like my dad introduced me to. But I would say from a performance element, there's definitely like a confidence that comes from like you're commanding a stage. You feel self-assured. That being said, it's way scarier to do that in comedy for me than it is in like singing. No problem. I'm not nervous. I never question myself. I definitely question myself when I'm on stage. I'm getting better, but it used to terrify me for like 2 years. But there's also like there's no real rejection performing music unless you were so bad that they booed you off stage. But a lot of like
A lot of music is good live, even if it's not that good, because people, like, if you can carry a tune, people are going to appreciate that.
If you're not horrible. And
or you're not,
the song choice isn't
You haven't
awful.
chosen Celine Dion when you have an Avril Lavigne voice or something.
And that is exactly, you totally hit the nail on the head. That is exactly why, for me, stand-up is so much more terrifying, because you are being judged in a way that I don't think you are judged in any other art form.
Yeah.
Any other art form. I can't think of any other thing, because even if, like, you know, you make paintings, like I made sculptures for years, and I don't anymore, but I love doing it. I was very lucky. Like, I sold stuff. It was a really cool period in my life, like another way to express myself. But, like, if people didn't like what I was doing, like if I had stuff in a gallery, I didn't hear it. Like, if someone was criticizing anything they ever saw, that's like, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of that experience, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like someone, if I wasn't a gallery, like at an opening, it's not like someone go up to me like, hey, that sucks. Like, they wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
But you can tell if someone thinks you suck when you're on stage. It's very vulnerable. And the feelings, oh man.
And even if people like the bulk of your set, if there's one joke, you feel it there. Whereas no one would come up to you and say, you know, I really like your painting, except for this area over here, I wouldn't have done that.
Yes.
But you get how much of it they liked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very unique and very vulnerable, and there's nothing like it. Like, I think it's so masochistic, honestly. Like, I think about this all the time. Like, I'll go to bed and I'll have a bad set, and like, I'm just ruminating where I'm like, why am I doing this? I feel so bad about myself. And like, if it's a real, like, I had a doozy of a bomb last year, and I swear it took me months to get over, because it was such a high stakes opportunity. And for reasons I won't get into, it just was super bad. I learned a lot from that experience.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't feel like I learned anything. Like, I was just like, wow, that was so humiliating. I'm so embarrassed. That was bad. And I carried that with me for months, and I needed a win. Like, I needed a good show to make up for it. And eventually I did, and then I got over it, and now it's a funny story. Like, now the story's funny to me.
Yeah.
It was not funny at the time. Like, I felt ill for months.
What was the opportunity?
I'll just say that I had a very last minute opportunity for something where somebody was offering, I'm being a little cryptic, but somebody was offering this very unique opportunity to not only speak and have an interview with a pretty well-known Canadian comedian, but also do a set in front of a live audience that was being taped for YouTube. So the idea was you were supposed to go on stage, do a quick set, and then said famous Canadian comedian was to interview you on stage about said set and your inspirations and whatever. And let's just say it went real bad. Real bad. And I could not redeem myself. Like, I could not redeem myself. And it was terrible.
Did you have to stay on stage and then talk to the person?
The whole time.
And it was just awkward.
It was horrible.
Were they nice to you?
They were nice, but it was very clear they knew I blew it, and I did. Yeah. And then I think they felt bad.
Oh, God.
Like, if I had to guess, I think they felt, I mean, I don't know. I didn't talk to them about it, obviously. But, like, when I was done, it was a show. And when I was done my part, I just left. Like, I literally apologized to the producer. I was like, I'm so sorry. And, like, I think they thought I was being hard on myself, and I was, but I was so mortified, and that's the first time I had to go.
Yeah.
Like, I had to leave the venue.
Because usually people will say something's high stakes, and I'll be like, there were no stakes.
No, it was a real, like, it was like a special opportunity, to the point where, like, when people found out I did it, they were like, how did you get that? Right? And I just got lucky. It was just a question of, I guess somebody, I don't know the circumstances. Maybe someone dropped out. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a last minute thing where there was like a blast where they were like, hey, anyone, can you do this now? Pitch it. And I just sent a message. Just like we all do, right?
That's
like, you take your shot,
happens.
you shoot your shot. And I was really surprised, but I guess I pitched it well. And they were like, yeah, come on down in 2 hours. I was like, cool. And so, like, I was really pumped. And then it just
Fuck.
And that video, by the way, never saw the light of day. I literally asked, like, please do not use it. Yeah. And as far as I know, they have not.
That's really kind of them.
Yeah.
I feel like people are good in the scene about not, like, I've heard people tell me, oh, I podcasted with this person, and then I just asked them not to put it out. And I feel like people are good about that. But what people are bad about is the first thing where you said that people said you didn't deserve the opportunity. And I feel like we're all jealous, and people need to shut up. Like, it's okay to feel it, and it's okay if you have a buddy in comedy that you go, like, he shouldn't have got that. He's a fucking loser. I should have got that. But, like, you don't go up to people and say, you just, there's some level of just, like, luck. People are in the right at the place, you know, and
it was total luck. Like, I wasn't special. That's the thing. Like, I didn't think I was special. I just, like, I shot my shot, and shockingly I got it, and I was like, whoa, okay, cool. Like, I wasn't expecting that. And it's not to say, like, no one straight up said, you don't deserve it. But there's an implication sometimes in the way things are phrased where people are just kind of like, you, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, like, I think envy and jealousy is a part of being a comedian, because I think fundamentally we're all insecure.
Yeah.
Unless you're a narcissist. And I think in the case of narcissist comedians, that's great. If that's probably the best way to be a narcissist, is in, like, finance or being a comedian, because you're unfazed, you know? Like,
yeah. The thing is, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I respect that we all have, like, an ego and we're all searching for validation. I just think, like, you have to sort of, like, know it about yourself and be prepared to shut up. And then there's just this thing too, like, I think I'm always thinking about what I want and what I don't have. So then sometimes, like, just like if I get the email back from Yuck Yucks that I get to do amateur night, I'm really in a happy fucking mood.
Yeah.
And then I'll say to myself, like, remember this, and remember that not everyone is in the pool of people that get to do that yet. So don't be mad the next time, like, you know what I mean? Just
no,
like have some
that's good
appreciation for the stuff you get.
Celebrate the wins.
Yes.
Yeah, celebrate the wins no matter how big or small they are. Absolutely. That's something that took me a while to learn, and I do that now, but I didn't for a long time. Another aspect of what we're discussing, and this is something I was bringing up with a lot of my comedy friends recently, is I am radically trying to change the vibe of what I consider gatekeeping in comedy, where sometimes there's an opportunity that's literally open to anyone, and people hoard that information.
Yeah.
I don't like that, because this is going to sound really like sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows of me, very Pollyanna, but, like, I truly believe that when one of us succeeds, we all succeed.
Yeah.
It looks good for the Toronto community in general. And guess what? If one of us starts doing better, there's also potential opportunities for you as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking about riding someone's coattails. I mean, like, a genuine opportunity. And I feel like a lot of us don't celebrate each other's successes a lot.
Yeah.
And I love being a cheerleader. I love it. Like, if somebody that I already know and something really cool happens to them, and I'm going to say lately, that's happened a lot to people I know, certain people, and I'm so freaking happy for them. Like, I'm so excited and I'm so proud, and I love bragging about it. Like, oh, you know, have you seen this thing on Instagram? That's my friend. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
And I wish more of us would do that, because I think that people do feel those feelings about people.
Yeah.
Or the admiration or whatever, and for whatever reason they just don't share them. Like, I just wish we complimented each other more. Maybe it's just because I like compliments, but I think it's important. I'm trying to change that. Like, and I'm trying to change, like, the gatekeeping nature.
And I think it has, you know, because we're just living, like, day to day, and it really does brighten my day if someone compliments me, or if they send me, like, hey, did you know this festival, people are applying for it, or like, you know, it makes you feel good, and that's another thing along with the small wins that sort of makes it fun day to day.
It's so important. I think it's so important. And like, I got opportunities, good ones, specifically because other people were kind enough to share them with me.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that. And in some cases, those people didn't even get the opportunity that they shared with me.
Yeah.
Right. And those people were happy for me.
You know what else is like almost more so than seeing someone get an opportunity that I think they're not ready for is like sometimes people will tell me they didn't do something because they didn't feel ready for it. Oh. And I'll get mad at that too because I'm like, dude, you have to try shit. Like, don't screw yourself over.
I don't know. I'm on both sides of the fence. I think it depends on what it is because I guess it depends. Yeah, for me it depends because if it's something that I know that I'm not good at, like I'd just be like, I'm not good for that. I don't think I would try, but if I felt like I had a shot in the dark, like this is a really funny, embarrassing example, but one of the things I've been trying to do this year, not very successfully, is I would like to get an agent for acting. Mostly I just want to be a commercial sellout. Like, I'm not looking to be in TV or movies. I want to sell Tide. You know, like, I'm fine.
I also want to sell Tide.
Fine. We can sell the shit out of Tide.
I wash my clothes every week.
Yeah. And they're very clean and white. So the brights are brighter and the whites are whiter. And what was the point I was making? I got so distracted. So that hasn't happened yet, and I've shot some things for friends, and I've done little bits and pieces, and I'm trying to collect enough footage. I do improv. Like I know I can do this. Like and I don't know about you, but I see comedians I know in commercials all the time. Yeah, and it's distracting, but it's also something where I'm like, that could be me too. And that's what I mean about like, I'm not discouraged by it. I'm like, I could do that too. Like, look at them. That's so cool that they're selling whatever, HelloFresh. GLP-1s. Tim Hortons, like all sorts of, a lot of sports betting commercials or like Waterio kind of stuff I've seen. A lot of food services. But I totally lost my train of thought what I was trying to say.
You're trying to get an agent.
I'm trying to get an agent. And I haven't necessarily been successful in that yet. I'm sorry. I was going somewhere with that. It might come back to me.
I'm surprised you don't have an agent already.
Thank you. That's a compliment. Thank you. Me too. I think.
I would buy products from you.
Thank you. You buy Tide from me. Okay, now I remember what I was gonna say. Thank you. You unjogged the point. Oh my God, I forgot it again. It was right there on the cusp. Actually, you know what? This is a good segue into something else. I'm very open about this. So I am epileptic, and I take medication that literally slows down my entire brain. And I'm like, it's been 6 years now. I've been on these meds, and one of the things that it does is it creates some memory lapses and also word searching. And that's a very, like, whatever's going on right now, that is not me. Like, I always think, like, this is, and I can tell the difference. It's really weird, but, like, I know the difference between a word search that's a genuine, this would have happened to old Nikki versus new Nikki. Yeah. It's a very strange thing.
Can I ask, is it normal to develop epilepsy at that age? Because I think of it as something like that would happen for kids.
Yeah, it can be. In my case, I actually was not diagnosed. So I actually did have it since I was a kid, but I wasn't diagnosed until I was almost 40.
So you had seizures?
Yeah.
But you didn't know?
No.
How does that happen?
Because I have a type of seizure called focal aware seizures, so I don't shake and fall to the ground, which is like the most common type of seizure. Those are called tonic-clonic seizures. They used to be called grand mal seizures, but they changed the language like 8 years ago.
Tonic-clonic is my
Doesn't it sound like a drink? Yeah, it sounds like a drink. To me, it sounds like a martini or something. Tonic-clonic. So I don't have tonic-clonic. I have focal aware.
Focal aware.
Yeah. So when the main word being aware. So I'm cognizant and I'm in full control of my body, and I don't shake. It's all internal. Everything I feel is an internal vibe, sensation. It's incredibly weird.
What does it feel like?
Oh God, it's so weird, Karen. I actually did a podcast with one of the brain hospitals once about this specifically. Basically, I get a very strong sense of dread. Not that something bad will happen, that something scary is going to happen immediately, but it's this sense of like, I'm in danger, like something's going to happen. I feel like I'm rising off the ground, like physically being lifted off the ground and then dropped, like a free fall. And that could be while I'm sitting or standing. It's bizarre. There's an infinite loop that goes on in your head. So you have, you're conscious, but you have another message going on your brain, at least specifically for me, that tells you that everything that's happened has happened before, as everything has happened before. Every single moment that you're living feels incredibly purposeful. Like everything that is going on around you was meant to happen. Like you just shifted, that was meant to happen, right? That's how your mind perceives it. It's not that you can perceive the future, but it's like every single exact moment of what you're living was meant to happen and likely had already happened before.
So it's like deja vu?
Yes, but much stronger. Like I get normal person deja vu, as I call it, and then I get, and it is a symptom of my seizures, is deja vu, or something on the flip side called jamais vu. Jamais vu is when nothing is familiar. In my case, everything is overly familiar.
Have you had jamais vu?
Never.
Okay, that sounds horrific.
It sounds very scary. So you can go one of two ways. You can get the deja vu or the jamais vu. But there's all these other elements, and there's physical elements. Like it sometimes makes me want to throw up.
I'm confused though, because you said there's like doom and dread.
Yeah.
But then there's also, is the deja vu off-putting, or does it feel in any way good? Because it's like,
it's just weird. It's just strange. Like, to be honest with you, like I haven't had a seizure in like 3 years maybe, and that one was induced for study. I was at a hospital at the time it happened, and I haven't had one since. It would be nice to have, like, if I had 2 a year, like, I kind of miss it, but not where I want them multiple times a day, every day, like I used to have them, because it is such a trip. Like, it is such an unusual, it's like the universe flicks on for a second. It's like a light switch just flicks on, and you perceive everything differently for only like a minute, and then it just turns back off again. So I don't, like, as we established, like, I don't do drugs, and I don't drink or anything.
You need to.
But I'm my own drug, man. Yeah, like, I feel, like, I assume to some extent it's very similar to what people feel like when they're on psilocybin or whatever. Like, I don't know that, like, scientifically if it's similar. But basically my brain is misfiring. And it's misfiring in such a way that it's giving me these messages that are not necessarily real or true. I don't hallucinate. I don't see things. I don't have auditory stuff. Some people do. Some people do have auditory sounds, or they see like colors and lights and stuff. I don't. So it's very unique for everybody. And I've met other people like me through like groups and stuff, and we all describe it in completely different ways. But whenever, it's actually one of my favorite things talking to people like me, because we all have our own unique perspective, right, based on who we are and like our values and our circumstances. But when they describe what it feels like, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And that's just how they think of it. That's just their own perspective. But I get it. And it's so fun. Like, I love it. I love listening to other people talk about it. And it is very hard to describe, and some of them really struggle. Like, some are like, I don't know what to say. You know, it's just fucking weird. I'm like, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. So I had them my whole life. I just didn't know what they were. So I had them as a kid, and I'd just be like, oh, that was weird. And then I just go on with my life and tell nobody.
Did the fact that you have them, do you think that influenced the fact that you never drank for fun?
No, I don't think so at all. Because I didn't necessarily think it was fun as a kid. It was just something that happened sometimes that was very strange, that didn't panic me in any way and didn't seem monumentous enough to tell anybody, because it's so indescribable. What do you say, you know? And especially when I was younger, I didn't have the language. Like, when I first got diagnosed, my parents said, oh, we're so sorry, we feel so bad, why didn't you tell us, you know, we didn't know. And I was like, don't feel bad, because like I wasn't suffering at all. And like, I have one memory, and this is the only reason I know that it went that far back, and this has been proven because like there's things up in my brain where they're able to prove that this has happened since I was a child, so it's not like a false concept. But I have this memory of it happening once, and my mom was with me, and I don't know how I communicated it. I might have been 4 or 5, but I probably said something along the lines of, I feel weird, or something weird happened, like however a kid would describe it, right? Which is so vague anyway. And I remember her saying, oh, you feel nervous. And the reason I remember that distinctly was I knew what nervous was. That was not nervous. Like, that was something else. And I knew she was wrong, and I just let it go. Like, it didn't frustrate me. I was just like, nah, that's not it. And then I just kind of went about my business, you know?
Like, as you were describing it to me, I was thinking, like, oh, it sounds like a panic attack.
No. But people, not really, people do. When I first went to go get help after I started, so I started having them more and more and more frequently, back to back to back to back. That had never happened before. So that's when I started kind of seeking help, because I was like, something's wrong. Like, even for me, this is weird. Like, this is happening a lot too often. It's getting creepy. You kind of lose touch with reality. Like, it felt really weird. And when I first went to a walk-in clinic to ask to get an appointment to see a neurologist, I had already diagnosed myself. I ended up being right, but I figured out what was wrong with me before I even saw a neurologist. I just did some research, and I was like, this is me. And I know, like, Dr. Google is a problem. And I just kept saying to my friends and family, you have to trust me. I know I'm right. I'm like, I know this inside out, and I know this is radical and new to you, and I've never spoken about this before. But it's like, I know these feelings, and I am reading about myself. And I was 100% convinced. Like, and I was right. I ended up being completely right, and I love being right. So that was great. But the guy that I spoke to, the doctor that I spoke to at the walk, this random dude with a bagel, I told him, and he said to me, you're probably having panic attacks. And I know what those are. Never had one in my life. Yeah. And I know what they are. And I said, no, they're not. And he went, are you sure? And I went, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. And he goes, how do you know? And I said, well, because these are the symptoms. I don't have that. I have this, and they're focal aware seizures. And I just kept saying it over and over again. I am having focal aware seizures. I would like to be referred to a neurologist. And I said it like 8 times.
Oh, God.
And then he eventually, and the thing is too, is like a lot of doctors, like primary care doctors, like family physicians, they don't know a lot about focal aware seizures. Yeah. Or absence. Another type of seizure is called an absence seizure, where you basically blank out. So imagine like you're talking to someone, and then and they're not responding, and they're not listening. That's an absence seizure. So that's like a little bit more obvious that, oh, something's wrong. Like, hello, like, are you okay? And then they come out of it, right? Yeah. So that's like more visual, but mine isn't visual. So, or like to other people. So I had to kind of explain what focal aware seizures were. And he was like, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
I have a friend who started getting seizures at like 18, and he said he probably had them earlier because he smoked weed every day, that he was probably medicating them.
Yes, and then when that makes sense.
He was like 18 or so, and he quit smoking weed for a bit, and then he said when he would have his seizures, like, he would just keep repeating the same thing, like a normal sentence or something. Like, he said something to his girlfriend, but then he said it again and again and again, and she was like, what are you doing?
Yes. Does he have absence seizures?
I can't remember.
It sounds like
I don't think I knew to ask him. I just remember him saying like he didn't fall on the ground and piss himself.
It sounds like an absence seizure. Yeah, apparently I've never seen anyone have one before, but apparently there can be like a lot of swallowing, like a lot, and they're just not there. Like, you can't communicate with them, or they'll mumble or like say a phrase over and over again. Yeah, that's a thing. But again, I don't have that. Like,
the way they've been treating you is just through medication?
Yes. Yeah. I was a candidate for surgery, and I have a whole bit about this. The set that I bombed so hard that it was all about this.
Oh no.
It was all about my seizures, potential surgery. It just did not. And it's a very dark set too. So like, it's one of those polarizing things where I kind of know I'm like pulling out a dangerous card, because like, I don't know how it's going to go. Yeah. Because if the audience doesn't like medical dark humor, then I lost them already. But sorry, I'm doing it again. Forgot what I was talking about.
So you have a bit about...
Yes, I have a bit about it. And I was a candidate for surgery. And I ended up not going through with it. I went through a whole bunch of studies. Like, it was very unfun to get to that point, to find out I was a candidate for brain surgery to correct this, so I wouldn't have to take medication anymore. And I hated my meds for obvious reasons. So I was actually very pro surgery. And I ended up not doing it because they wanted to remove, in order for me to be seizure free, they would have to remove a lot more of my brain than I was comfortable with. God. And I was really like, no, we're not doing that. I'm sorry. I was really surprised because I thought they were just going to remove, I have a little benign tumor. So I thought, oh yeah, they're going to remove the tumor and maybe like some surrounding tissue. And no, it was like a big overhaul. God. The doctor was trying to convince me that it wasn't going to be a big deal and that my brain would survive and cope in different ways. And like, the brain is plastic and it kind of shifts around and relearns things. So this is like one of my jokes, but he, as part of this, he wanted to remove my entire hippocampus. And
your memory?
It regulates emotions. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, no. And he was trying to convince me it wasn't that big of a deal. And one thing that I can't remember who said this to me, but I think it might have been like another epileptic person, but they said something like, surgeons want to cut.
Oh, right. If you only have,
right? Like if
your only tool is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
Yeah. Like
so if your only tool is a scalpel.
Yeah. Like surgeons, they enjoy it. It's fun. That's what they do. They like cutting stuff. And so, like obviously there's the aspect of, sure, it might have helped me in some ways, but they were really pushing, like, you should do this. And there was nothing that he could say that would convince me that ultimately that the pros outweighed the potential cons. It just didn't make sense. And for as much as I really dislike being on medication for all the reasons I mentioned and other reasons, it just seems like it was too much of a risk. And I did think about it. Like I had a gut feeling like, I don't want to do this. And I spoke to my family about it and I spoke to friends, and ultimately I was like, no. But I had to do so much work to get to that point, to find out if I was even a candidate, that I was like, oh, this is all for nothing. Like, I went through hell. I was in the seizure study for so long in a hospital, and I was in a ward with a bunch of men, and they sucked, and I didn't sleep for 72 hours, and I was miserable, and I didn't shower, and and it was kind of all for nothing. But at least, like, it was an interesting experience, I guess, Yeah.
Fuck, that is harrowing. But did you, like, in terms of, because you're on medication all the time, did you have to go through like a process of like acceptance to sort of like handle that you're sick and that you're on medication?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I've never really felt sick per se. I don't know if I would use the word sick, but it did take me a while. And not to say, to make it very clear, I'm not ashamed I'm on medication, and I don't judge anyone or would judge anyone who needs medication, whether it's for like mental health reasons or like a physical problem or whatever. It was just more for me, the idea of, oh man, I have to remember, I got to take these, horse pills twice a day, every day for the rest of my life. They aren't cheap. They could be way more expensive. I mean, some of the drugs that that was actually really eye-opening to me, is like, these drugs are expensive, and I'm lucky enough to have insurance through my work, like health insurance, and so the vast majority of my medication is covered. And some of these drugs that people are on are so prohibitively expensive. I do not know how people survive. Like, I do not know how that's plausible, because if I had to pay for what I'm getting, I would not be able to do a lot of other stuff. Like, I wouldn't be able to go out to dinner. I'd have to cut back so many things in my life just to get that done. And I'm on the cheaper meds too. Like, at the beginning, I was on like, I've been through many drugs to find, like, there's a cocktail, like everyone's a little different. So I went through like a process of many months trying different things, and that sucked. Like, that was actually the hardest adjustment, because it takes like 3 to 4 months for your brain to even get used to something. So I would just feel terrible all the time. Like I felt like a zombie. I was so tired. I was waking up like 12 times a night. I kept having to go to the washroom for no reason. Like it just sucked so bad. And it was during COVID, and it just felt so like, I don't know, like monotonous and droning, and I was miserable for months. But then we finally found a combo of meds that seemed to work the best, where it's like they got the job done. It's not to say the other meds work too. Like I wasn't having seizures, but I felt like trash. And you have to be on them for months before they'll even take you off of them. And you have to titrate. And I didn't know what that word meant before, but it just means, you slowly, incrementally start taking a drug, but then when you need to switch, you very slowly have to cut back. You can't do it right away. It takes weeks to titrate. So then I'd have to be cutting up my pills into little pieces and go, I'm getting 1/8 of a pill today. Like it was just annoying. But, people have it way worse, but I was still annoyed. I'm not going to lie. I was annoyed. Now it's just like part of my routine. But yeah, it's not great,
Are you spiritual or religious at all?
I'm not religious at all, but I would say I am more of a spiritual person in a more of a everything is connected, we are all made of stardust kind of concepts. Like I believe there are, I think there's a lot we don't know, but I also think it's explainable, if that makes sense. Like I don't think you could argue it's magical because it is so wondrous. Sure, you can use the word magical there, but I don't think it's actually magic. I think there's complex, vast, stunning, beautiful things that we as human brains could not comprehend, whether that's like other dimensions that we literally cannot perceive, time crossing, time looping, whatever. Like I'm not a mathematician, very far from it. I'm really bad at math, but I believe that there's an interconnectedness between the world and how we perceive the world. And when I think about how vast the universe is, like, have you ever seen, Karen, that there's like this website, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this giant, massive picture of the universe as we know it, and you can keep zooming in. Like you can pick a section of the universe that we understand, that we have mapped, and you can just keep zooming in and in and in and in. And it's mind-blowing. Like just when you think like, oh yeah, there's that little galaxy, and then you break it open and you're like, no, like it just goes on and on. That, I find that fascinating, and it hurts my brain. Yeah. And I don't know what it means, but I like it, and I think it's very cool. I'm not against the concept of intelligent life, other places. I think that's entirely possible. Do I think that means they're godlike beings? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm curious, I guess, when you were coming into like the acceptance, like how was that process for you?
It was good. It was quite easy, actually, in the sense that I finally got clarity and reassurance about what was happening. Like I actually felt great when I got the diagnosis because I was right. I love being right, as I said, but also just because like it was so gratifying, and it made sense. Like I was like, finally, like this, wow, it all pieced together. Like there's real reasons. And also the concept, not to say that I had a lot of pushback on like when I was telling people what was happening. It's not like I had people straight up saying, you're lying or you're not telling the truth. But I loved having receipts, so to speak, because like I have pictures, I have studies, I have graphs. It's like, oh, you don't think this is real, or oh, you don't think focal aware seizures exist. Well, guess what? You're wrong, and here's my proof, right? And so having the receipts was great as well. It was just very validating. Like I was actually very happy. Like the day I got my diagnosis, even though at the time they didn't know what was going on with the brain tumor, I was oddly happy. Like I was like, the tumor aspect wasn't great, and we had to figure that out, and we did, and it ended up being okay. But in the moment, I was more focused on, oh, that's why. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. fascinating, right?
Yeah.
To the point where the neurologist I had when I had my first meeting with him, which was online, which is so strange because it was during COVID, he even said to me, like, I started describing my symptoms, and I said, listen, I think I'm having these type of seizures. And he nodded and he was smiling, and he's like, I think you're right. He's like, I absolutely think you're right. And he said, most likely what's going on is this is happening in your right temporal lobe. There's a reason why. And he was right. It was in my right temporal lobe, and it was because I have a little buddy in there. So that was what was causing it. So it was super validating.
So the hippocampus is in the right.
No, the hippocampus was just a part of the brain that would have had to be removed for me to be seizure free. But the start of the seizures start in my right temporal lobe, and then the way it was described to me by that neurologist once was, the more seizures you have, the more seizures you will have, which is why mine were ramping up, because I used to get them very infrequently, then a little more, then a little more, then a little more, and then a lot more. And he used this description that I thought was really interesting because it's very visual. He said, imagine you have a row of sticks and you've set one of the sticks on fire. And he said, the more seizures you have, you're throwing that stick out and other further sticks are going to catch on fire. And then the whole thing will end up burning all the way down the line. So the idea is when you have a misfire, and in my case, focal in this case means focused, which means the seizures only start from one part of my brain. Other people, they can be in many parts all at once. Not me, it starts here. But essentially, for lack of a better description, my hippocampus is damaged. And so in order to be seizure free, you have to remove that damage. And they can map out where that damage is. And so it's in a large part of my right temporal lobe and in my hippocampus as well. But I don't feel damaged. I feel damaged by the drugs, not by my brain itself. Yeah.
And I feel like we're in a great time for drugs getting
Hell
better.
yeah.
Like maybe in like 5 years they have a wonder drug for this.
I mean, it is miraculous it works at all, and like I'm very lucky. Actually, do you watch The Pit at all?
No, I haven't seen it.
Do you know what it is? It's like this like medical drama. I've never been into a medical drama in my life. Like, it's not my vibe, but I love The Pit. And one thing that cracks me up with The Pit is whenever any patient comes in as having a seizure, they always go, Keppra. And I'm like, that's what I take. Like, they say Keppra. It's like, Keppra is the most generic seizure drug possible. It's like one of the ones I take, but it amuses me to no end because I'm like, yep, Keppra. Like,
you're feeling seen.
Yeah, I'm feeling seen. Yeah.
When you eventually do your first album, do you think a big portion of the album will be on your health, or do you have any sense?
No, I don't actually. It's also, thank you for saying that I am or will be doing an album. You are more sure than I am. I don't know. I'm not against it. Actually, this is a good example of I'm not ready. Remember we were talking about that? I don't think I'm ready.
You'll get ready.
I'd like to. I'm not going to say no. I think it's a cool goal, but do I want to do that within the next like year or two? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's got to be when I feel I'm ready.
Yeah.
But I don't think I will, only because unless I come up with new jokes somehow or new perspectives of that part of me, I think I've kind of moved on from it in terms of material, because when I was newer, at the time, that stuff was more prevalent in my life. And like when I first started doing stand-up, that's when I had my seizure study, right? So everything was like really fresh in my head. And I think I've kind of like moved on from that. And also I didn't want to pigeonhole myself too much, because I think at the beginning I was like, oh yeah, that's the epileptic, like, oh, that's the seizure girl, that's the tumor girl, and like I am those things, and I think it's funny, like, and you know, I don't mind at all if people say that, because it's true and I'm okay and I'm safe and like it's fine to joke about, but I didn't want to like just be that.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't think I would, unless like I could come up with new stuff. Like I haven't done what I call my tumor set. I haven't done it actually since that epic bomb.
Yeah.
I haven't done it since at all. Yeah.
Do you think like the seizure, that phase in your life, like when, like, I know it's not happening, but like, do you think it made you funnier?
No, I don't. I think me wanting to be funny or having a good sense of humor made it easier
to deal with.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I always saw the humor in it, and I'm really grateful for that I was just like, this is just so twisted and weird and demented and fascinating. And it was in COVID, right? Like, it was a weird time for everybody. It was a strange time. I was living alone. I was very isolated. I still had to go to an office every day. I was traveling alone on the subway wearing a mask. My face was all broken out for years, and it was just such a strange twilighty zone, like, what is life right now, thing. And I think partly how I coped with it was having a really good sense of humor about it. But I don't think it made me funnier, no. I just think it gave me like a card to play that I wouldn't have been able to play before in comedy. Like, I have the epilepsy card, and it's a genuine card. And I can pull that card if I want to pull it.
And I think people, like, that is part of being a comedian, having, like, the willingness to play on your experiences and your identities and whatever cards you have.
Yeah, and it's a weird card because, you know, not a lot of people, myself included, I didn't know what focal aware seizures were. I had no idea that's what I was having. So it's a weird, interesting one, which I think kind of gives me a little bit of a, I don't want to say edge, but it's more mysterious. It's more like, oh, tell me, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun to talk. I like talking about it, not only because I hope other people find it interesting, but I'm also like, I want to educate people because a lot of people do not get diagnosed. My story is very common. Most people with this don't get diagnosed until they're much older. And I want, like, parents to know if their kids are describing strange things, like, take that seriously, right? Because, like, it's just a lack of education. So the more I talk about it, the more people will understand this is a thing.
Yeah. And, you know, like you said, you like when the pit mentions your medication. And I feel like people who have the same thing as you in the audience or something else, like a medical mystery or a pill they have to take every day, like, they want to be seen or represented on stage as well.
Yeah, the pit, it cracks me up. I love the pit. I can't wait for season 3. I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna check out David Bowie and the pit.
So to recap, you're gonna listen to Outside by David Bowie. You're gonna listen to Hunky Dory by David Bowie, and you're gonna watch 2 seasons of the pit.
Amazing.
Available on Crave.
Nikki, I've loved having you on.
Thank you. I had such a good time.
Aw. Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug?
No.
What's your name on socials?
My social is strange_miss on Instagram. It is a private account, but if you want to follow me, just request it. I am kind of a wiener, and I'm very nervous about everyone having access to me on social media. That's like a whole other story for another day, but I am accessible. You just have to ask. So if you ask, you're more than welcome to follow me. And I do stand up all over Toronto and improv as well. So I always advertise what I'm doing next, and you can find out about that on Instagram. But otherwise, I don't really have anything else going on. Just regular shows, and maybe one day an album. We'll see.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks so much, Nikki.
Thank you. It was fun.